Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I thought I'd continue the mini-series of using all the odd pieces that I buy and get sent in from you on all of my brick hauls. And today, it is the turn of these wonderful bright red wheel holders with suspension. So clearly it's some sort of off-road vehicle that I need to be making, and I've got 6 of them to play with. Good. Well, before we get started using this odd piece, I'm going to go back to the last video where we used this odd piece to build our lovely gas storage tank. And a few of you sent in suggestions for improvements, and the one that I liked most was the addition of this ladder. I was actually sent an email with a few different options, and I kind of used none of them. Well, kind of a blend of all of them, I suppose, actually. So I've got the lower ladder section held on by 2 modified tiles there, and the other one kind of hanging on the top using some robot arms, and they don't have to align, but obviously you can align them so you can go up one ladder and then up the next for access to the hatch at the top. So I thought that was a really good amendment and just makes that kind of unbroken bit of dark tan more interesting from a distance. So that deserves a hearty bedoing. Well done for that. So yeah, we'll put that to this side. And then bring back in from this side all of these lovely pieces. So I've got 6 of these, and as I see it, that means I can make 3 vehicles. But then I was thinking about it a bit more, about what would be really interesting to see in my city rather than just loads of normal sort of 4-wheel drive ATVs. And I thought maybe a lot better would be to make some 6-wheelers. That would be very interesting. And I was kind of looking through the internet, Google pictures, and saw these lovely vehicles called Argo Frontiers, which have those 6 sort of chunky tires along and look great fun to drive around. And as you might have guessed, they're also amphibious, so they can just charge straight from land into the water for even more fun. So yeah, that is solved really what I'm going to do. Now these are in red, which is a very bright colour, but I kind of thought that with a fun vehicle like that, you kind of want it bright and standing out, partially so you can see the suspension pieces, but also so they look like they're kind of for rent, for people to hire and, well, just have a great whale of a time with, really. So that is what I'm going to build. Now, the real life ones have a bit of a prow on the front, kind of a boat kind of shape to them for charging into the water. And the more I tried to do that with Lego pieces, the more weird it kind of looked. So I'm not going to do that so much. So maybe mine will be a bit more land looking, but I do think they could charge into the water as well. So yeah, we've got 6 of these. Let's start with 3 and make a start on the build. Well, I've been dying to use these pieces as soon as I first saw them on that brick haul because, well, they're just so true to life and really good fun to kind of squish around with your fingers. So if you're interested in buying some of these as well from Bricklink or wherever, just so you know, they're part number 74321, and they came in all sorts of sets, I think in red and black, in the 80s, including on set 6660, Hook and Haul Wrecker from 1989, which must be the tow truck of the beast with that set number, 666. Anyway, yeah, I really like the way, especially on that picture, how some of the suspension can be sort of held in that upright position, so it looks like it's going over bumps and really having a great time. So that looks fantastic. And what I thought I would do is make something as compact as the real life Argo Frontier. Make this really as small as possible, so those wheels, the chunky ones that you get on all those 90s vehicles, are really close together, because I think kind of smaller is better. They're kind of looking fierce and intense, maximising the density of my city. That's one of my design rules. And kind of going for a mini monster truck type vibe. And then with the fact that we've got 6 wheels as well, we've kind of got more diversity in the city as well. So I don't think this build is the strongest, especially given that we might be pushing down to use this suspension. And that's would be a problem if we were making it into a real life set, because, you know, kids would be sort of making this and tearing it apart at the same time. But essentially, I think for my use, it's going to be sufficiently strong. But essentially, I've got some clips on the front, 2x6, and then a bracket piece at the back, just to hold an oversized brake light, just so if you were tailgating, you would know not to career into the back of it. And then the main body, I'm going to be using these kind of cockpit pieces. So that's part number 30149. And it doesn't come in many sets or many different colours. But they are quite cheap, thankfully. And it doesn't also have that many attachments, especially on the back, which is a bit annoying. But the good point is it's two-seater. We can have a steering wheel in here and fit two people side by side in it. And I figured that made it all the better. And with that bright colour, that is pretty cool. So there is the beginning shape of our kind of buggy, which I think I was going to call the 6WD ATV X2, or just 6-wheel drive ATV times 2. But yeah, I think that's going to be really good. And you can see already with the space available, if I put a prow on this, it just looks really silly. So yeah, let's go for that monster truck vibe. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a couple more bracket pieces and get some really big exhaust manifold type sort of thing going on here with these tap pieces at a diagonal angle. Now, if this in real life hit the water, it might make a lot of smoke, I suppose, but hey ho, I'm going to go with it because it's Lego and I don't build in sort of a real life style. I build in a fun style, and more exhausts is more fun. So there we go. So that already starts to look a bit like an engine block, just visible over those wheels, and they have got the clearance. Then you could just use plates, but I'm using one of these just because I've got it, the sort of 2-plate thick corrugated brick. So that can go on next. And then I spent a lot of time getting some of these pieces, just these sort of mudguard pieces, but with patterning on, because I am going to be making 2 of these 6-wheelers, of course, and, well, these aren't available in every colour either. So this particular one with these lovely stripes on the lime, which I thought was the brightest of all, came from 8384, the Jungle Crasher from 2003, which was a drone racer set. And that can go on next for that really high wheel arch sort of monster truck look, and I really like that. And we can still see the bright red of all that suspension as the kind of highlight colour, and I figure I'd continue that highlight colour with a steering wheel on the inside. And since we're in the UK, we better have that on the right. There we go, very nice indeed. Now it's dying for some bull bars, so that's why I've got the clips on the front to do that. Oh yes. Yes, this is looking really fun. I kind of want to rent one right now. But we need kind of an engine block sticking out the front. And I was torn whether I should have it that way, which I think is technically the right way. So you've got a massive, great big sort of thirsty air intake pointing forward. Yeah, what do you think of that? Or having it that way, where you've got less sort of thirsty air intake on the front, but it looks more streamlined. So given I'm doing 2, I might try one each way, and then we can compare them directly later on. And then I need a tiny windscreen, so I'm going to use one of these parts and one of these little windscreens, which are hard to get, to be fair. There's not too many of them around, but they are just perfect for this. You can just imagine it sort of flapping down when you get in and out. So that can go there, and that covers up all those nasty studs there, and looks really cute and smashing. Right, so we've got 2 studs on the back there to do a kind of roll bar, I suppose. So what I'm going to do is get 2 headlight bricks, put a curved slope across both of them, and then just to bring it in so it's all level at the back, just some 1x1 plates there. Stick that on there. Whoop. You can already see where it's going to be fragile because it's just popped off in my hands. Just making it, and then we'll get the roll bar on top of that. So yeah, this is the weakness that I was talking about in the playing, that can just sort of fall off. It's only held on by 2 studs. So that is the problem with this build. Maybe there's a way of making it a bit strong. Could sort of clip it on the top there, but then it's going to get quite chunky. And I kind of like its little profile. I think that looks really fun. There's nothing like that in my city at all so far. So yeah, I quite like it with the smaller air intake on the front as well. Just gives it that lovely little shape. So it can still go over bumps like my finger, just like that hook and haul wrecker set picture did. And I think that's really good. It doesn't move quite as much as the more modern monster trucks do, just because, well, it's quite a small axle piece after all. But yeah, that is really cool, isn't it? Cool, let's make another one in a different colour. Maybe this one a bit more, I don't know, military-esque? Now for the second one, I wanted another bright colour, ideally, but also the exact same design, but that is a problem, given that these bucket seat kind of cockpit pieces weren't made in many colours, and this 1x4 hinge brick certainly wasn't. Not only that, but getting one of these in a decorated state in the same colour as well makes it almost impossible. So the colour that I ended up getting for the second one was dark bluish grey, which isn't particularly interesting in a sense, but as I say, it might be a kind of military vibe, so I thought that would appeal to probably men to feel that they were driving a small sort of tank or something around, and yeah, it'd still be really good fun. So it's not a real military vehicle, but it is perhaps one that has that sort of a vibe, still with a bright red colour sort of showing to make it quite apparent that it is a fun vehicle, and also some lovely sort of red accent on this piece as well, with silver as well, and that was part of the 8642 Monster Crusher set from 2005, a tiny turbo set. So yeah, Jungle Crasher and Monster Crusher, yeah, very similar but quite different. So this one we said we were going to try the air intake the other way around, and I don't know, I think that looks a bit like a bat nose, kind of a snubbed up nose on the front. Well, we'll see how it's finished. And in fact, getting all of these parts, even in dark bluish grey, was a problem because this isn't available in dark bluish grey, but it is available in dark grey. It's near enough. So unless you're incredibly eagle-eyed, you would not tell that those two were different. If I point out exactly where it is, then, well, you can see it, but I don't think you would from any distance. Still looks rather amazing. And then the back piece for the fragile section, as per usual, and I'll support that a bit better this time putting it on. And there is our second one, all wibbling around on its lovely suspension. So I absolutely adore these. I think they look amazing, really good fun to drive around. And I was thinking where I could show them off best in my city, because there's two of them, so they kind of need to be battling away, or maybe one's sort of empty, ready for rent with a for rent sign, and another one's being enjoyed, perhaps even on my beach. Now I'm thinking in the current city my beach probably isn't big enough for that, so for now I was thinking they'd make really interesting cargo on the back of a vehicle sort of transport wagon, and I could kind of have one on each end pointing in different directions, and that looked really interesting and colourful, like they were going off to some resort to be enjoyed. So I very much like that. Yeah, that looks really good. So that's how I'm going to use it in the current city, but I think in the future I think I will have one either on land or being ready for rent. And I thought, well, maybe I need to make a third one, because if I carefully take off all of the wheels of this and then just put it back together, sort of just briefly, kind of hold it together with my fingers, then I could put that in the water with loads of splashes all around it, all sort of cheese wedge pieces in trans white and trans clear rather, and trans light blue, and it really very much in my mind looks like that picture of the one being used in amphibious mode. So I think that could be a really good scene where you've got one with wheels, one without wheels in the water, and then maybe, because I've got them now, a third one. So I might need to get shopping again. So you'll have to tell me what you think of that idea. We'll have to see if we've got enough beach space in the new city as well, because although I've got a lot more space in the new Lego room, I don't have, infinite space. So we'll have to see if I can get that idea in. So for now, these are relegated to the railway wagon, but I don't think that's a bad place for them. Now, you might be wondering why we haven't got an update on the Lego room, the new one, this Monday. But essentially, there was a bit of an issue that if you watch my brick hauls, then you know already. But it was that the carpet that was ordered successfully and measured correctly turned up, and it was the wrong size. Basically, somebody had typed in the correct measurements incorrectly, so when it turned up, it was about a foot short or 30 centimeters short on one dimension, and I didn't want to have a great big strip of floor still showing, so yeah, it got sent back. It was their mistake, and we're basically a complete week postponed because of that. So I'm still waiting on a carpet. Nightmare. Oh well, at least we've had a good build instead of that update, and yeah, tell me what you think. Any improvements? You could earn yourself a lovely bedoing. Well, I absolutely love these. They're really good fun to swish around and use the suspension on your desk. So I may be playing with them for the next 10 minutes after filming. And I think I've come around to the opposite view I had before building these, about that air intake. I kind of like the snubby nose now. They kind of look ugly, but I kind of like that. It kind of looks like how an air intake should work, with the sort of mouth open at the front. But the fact that it's got a little piggy front nose, I kind of like. So yeah, I thought I wanted it streamlined, but you never can tell until you see it in real life. So I'm very happy with these. Do tell me if you've got any suggestions for improving them yet further. I did consider adding number plates to them on the back here and so on, but I thought, you know, they're probably not road legal. Or maybe they just haven't been registered yet if they're on the back of the rail wagon, of course. Anyway, yeah, do give me your suggestions. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego builds and the use of more very interesting old pieces. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. Your support is appreciated. So next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be doing a brick haul on Wednesday, and then hopefully another build either on Friday, Monday, or both. Hopefully an update with some carpet in the new Lego room. You never know. And I think I've got one more surprise to show you in there as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that. So until next time, see you! So if this one is in the water, then I'm going to need to get a third colour that works with all these pieces. Nightmare!